Welcome to episode 89 of Sport SA Daily Diary. Today we're chatting to clay target shooting world champion, South African Darcy van der Berg. Good afternoon, Darcy. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, thanks. And you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Thank you for joining us today on Sport SA Daily Diary. It's always good to find out and learn about new sports.
I appreciate it, and thanks for asking me to do this for you.
It's great to have you. We'll get on to your sport of clay target shooting shortly, but take us back a few years. Darcy, obviously you didn't do this at school. So were you quite active in other sports at school?
I think I was one of the most active kids in school because I tried every single sport. I played rugby, I played cricket, I played hockey, I did gymnastics, I played soccer. I literally tried every sport. And then obviously I started shooting when I was 11.
Okay.
So it's not a school sport, but yeah, I started on a very young age.
And how did you get into it, Darcy?
My father started shooting clay target at the age of 27.
Okay.
And yeah, well, he's been doing it for a very long time. He's been shooting for 45 years now, and I grew up at the shooting range.
Okay, and I saw a photo of you and your dad on Facebook. He obviously also had his SA colours, also for the clay target shooting.
Yes, but just in another discipline.
Okay, and we'll get into those different disciplines shortly. Was there pressure on you then to sort of achieve his standards, seeing he was representing his country?
Not at all. Not at all. I do the sport because I love it, and if I do good, it's a bonus.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously you started at the age of 11. When did you kind of see that you actually might have a talent for it?
Well, that's quite a difficult question because I always shot the competitions that my dad went to. So I went with him and shot the competitions with him. And I didn't do bad, but I wasn't the best at that time because I focused more on other sports like playing rugby or playing cricket. I didn't focus that much on the shooting. And the year I turned 13, one of the guys at our shooting range told me he wants to sponsor me to shoot a competition with him. So I said, okay, no, it's fun. And I won the juniors. And since then I couldn't stop.
And did you give up other sports then, or did you carry on and play others as well?
I carried on playing other sports as well, as I can only shoot on a Saturday. Okay. That's the only time our shooting range is open. So I could play other sports during the week, and on the weekends in the afternoon I can go and shoot.
And now, are you still active in any other sports, or is it just purely shooting?
I played hockey for the University of the Free State for a while, and then when I started working, I couldn't do those sports anymore. So I just focus on clay target shooting at this moment.
Okay. And Darcy, from what I've picked up, there's 4 different disciplines in clay target shooting: ATA trap, DTL trap, Olympic trap, and universal trench. Maybe you can just explain to us a little bit about the variation between the 4.
Okay, so there is 4, but ATA and DTL is the same discipline. It's just a little bit different, or the same type. It's just another discipline of that one type. So the 4 types or the 4 disciplines that you get is ATA or trap, it's trench, it's skeet, and it's sporting. So ATA and DTL, it's the same discipline or the same type of discipline, but it works a little bit differently. So my father earned his colors in ATA trap in 1982. He went over to go to America and shoot the American Grand. So ATA is called American Trap, and DTL is called Down the Line. Down the Line, they shoot more in Europe. It's more European competition. And I shot ATA for 11 years. And then I went over to Universal Trench. So I've got my colors in Universal Trench. But in Universal Trench, you only use 5 machines. But I also shoot Olympic Trench, which is an Olympic sport, which there's 15 machines of. So the disciplines are very different. Not one discipline is the same. And then you go to skeet. Skeet is a high house and a low house. And you get universal skeet or NSSA skeet, and you get Olympic skeet. So Olympic skeet is much more difficult than NSSA skeet, because the targets have a delay of 0 to 3 seconds before they can come out. And you're not allowed to mount your gun. It has to be on there's a line on your jacket, and your gun needs to be on that line, the top part of your stock. And then sporting and compact are two, it's the same discipline, but they're different. So it simulates hunting. It simulates hunting. It's like you've got a clay target rolling here in front of you. You've got one coming towards you. It's just fun. It's just fun.
And Darcy, 2018 was quite a big year for you. You were at the Chairman's Cup Interprovincial, and you shot 146 out of 150. I presume that means you hit 146 of 150 targets.
Yes, correct.
That's pretty impressive.
Not as impressive as I would like it to be, but yeah, it's quite an achievement. One of my big mates, one of my good friends, Willie Steyn, which is the junior world champion in Universal Trench, that he won last year in France. He shot a 148. Okay. He just dropped 2 targets. So that was very well shot from him.
And tell me, have you ever shot in practice or in competition to 150 out of 150?
So last year when we went over to France to shoot the World Championships, I shot 125 out of 125 in the practice. But that's the only time I could do that. There's a shooter in the Clay Target Association here in South Africa. His name is Dave Cohen. He shot 2,300 straights in his life.
Jeepers. That's
no one has come close to that as of yet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the provincial result, your 146 out of 150, was good enough for you to qualify for the South Africa team. And you went off to the world champs in Hungary. Yeah. And you shot 190 out of 200. Again, pretty damn impressive results, but only ended up 36th. So what were the winners shooting?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the guy that won shot 199 out of 200. And it was a Frenchman. So the standards at that World Champs are quite high, because the French and the Italians, the Australians and the British are quite very, very competitive shooters.
Yeah. And tell us, what speed do these targets go at when they're released?
It's round about between 70 and 80 kilometers per hour.
So yeah, I mean, you need to have a pretty damn good eye to be able to, target that and shoot it while it's moving at that speed, and it's so small.
Yeah, definitely. My coach, or yeah, I can call him my coach. He went to the Olympic Games for South Africa for clay target shooting in 1992, and his name is Niels Borman, and him and his son Niels Borman Jr. They helped me quite a lot, and they still do. And he always tells me, if you don't see it in the first meter and a half, you're not gonna get that bird. It's too fast.
Sure, that's. I mean, you need to be quick off the block. After that World Champs in Hungary, you were awarded your national Protea colours. What does that mean exactly? Because obviously you went to the World Champs to represent South Africa. Now you've been awarded your Protea colours. Is that just a recognition of you representing the country?
Yes. So when you qualify for the World Championships, you need to go over and at least fire your gun at a competition target once to be able to receive your Protea colors. Otherwise, if you qualified but you can't go, you didn't represent South Africa. So you first need to go over and fire at least one shot to achieve your colors.
And then if 2018 was a big year for you, 2019 obviously much bigger. You went back to the World Champs and you shot 196 out of 200. Again, jeepers, mate, you're getting close to that full house. And you came fifth, but your team won the World Champs. You beat the likes of, as you say, Australia, Italy, the UK, France. I mean, that must have been like awesome stuff for you.
Just thinking about it now, it still gives me like goosebumps. I remember that day as if it was yesterday. I just finished shooting, and I knew I shot a 196, and I knew this one Australian guy. He was like on my toes the whole time. He was like with me the whole competition, and I shot the first 100. I shot 98 out of 100, and he shot 100 out of 100. So I knew, listen, this guy is in front of me. And his last round, he came back and he told me he dropped, I think it was 4 birds or 3 birds. And I was like, you talking nonsense, come on, man. And when I went into the clubhouse and saw the scores, I saw he dropped, and we knew it's either we're going to lose first place with 1 target, or we're going to draw, or we're going to win it. And me and Michael Mavarakis, one of my partners, he also shot a 196. And Giuseppe Tagliaferri, which is our third guy, he shot a 192. And that made us achieve first place and let us win the World Championships for the first time in South African history.
That's incredible. You're now able to call yourself a world champion, and by one point.
By one target.
Yeah.
So we had a joel after that. Yeah, that was one of the best moments that I can remember.
Yeah, I'm sure. And tell me, Darcy, how does it work? So do you compete individually and then as a team as well?
Yes.
So essentially, you're competing against your other South African partners as well?
To place, yes. You can say we compete against each other to see who gets the better place. But like I said, myself and Mike Mavaraki shot 196, and we both came 5th, yeah. which is very good. And Willie Steyn, our junior last year, he's a senior this year, so he's joining our ranks this year. He shot if I'm not mistaken, a 194, and he won the juniors. And that's also not happened as of yet. So,
I mean, clay target shooting in South Africa seems to be in a healthy space at the moment.
It's growing. It's growing. I would like it to grow a little bit more, see a little bit more people on the ranges. Yeah. And it's just great fun.
And Darcy, as we chatted about before we started recording, you seem to be quite young in terms of other participants. Is that in South Africa alone, or is it an older sport across the world?
I'd say most of the people competing are a little bit older. You've got your young guys coming through like me and some of the other guys. I've got a friend from the Czech Republic, Pavel Kadin. He's quite a youngish guy. He's younger than me. Also, on the junior side, there's a bunch of young guys. Um, but yeah, there's more elderly people than younger people doing the sport at this moment.
Yeah. And Darcy, I mean, we also mentioned that we both feel that clay target shooting, alongside a lot of other sports in South Africa, don't get the credit that they deserve. Essentially, why shouldn't you get the same reception for being crowned world champion as the Springboks did when they got back from winning the World Cup in Japan? What do you think can be done differently to build clay target shooting to allow it to get the recognition it deserves?
I think the main thing is when people hear shooting, they they're afraid of the safety, they're afraid of the gun itself. But in clay target shooting and in any shooting sport, the safety regulations are so high. There's no chance that someone will get hurt. Um, the safety is a very important part in every club of shooting. And I think our sport, it's such a small sport at the moment that people intend to forget about the shooting community. Because if I ask someone, do you know who George Dickweed is?
Yeah.
They're not going to know.
No.
They're not going to know who George Dickweed is. And he's a British shooter that's won more world championships and more European championships than anybody else in England. But because we are such a small sport, a lot of people don't know about us.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's part that puts it out there that we're not that recognized as the biggest sports.
Well, let's hope alongside a couple of other sports we can change that going forward. I was going to ask you before you mentioned Paul, is he the best shooter you've ever or have you come up against him? Firstly, and if not, who's the best shooter you've ever come up against?
Who's that, George?
Yeah, sorry, George.
I've never. George Dickweed doesn't shoot the discipline that I shoot, but he's a very competent shooter. He's the best. I'd really like watching him shoot. Even on YouTube, he was here in South Africa a few times before that. He came and shot the world champs here, and but I'd say the best shooter that I've come across. Yeah, that's a difficult one. That's a difficult one. Everyone feels good. Everyone's good. The best, I must say, I think it would be Dave Cohen. He's quite a difficult person to beat in a competition.
Tell me, when you're coming up against a competitor, obviously you're shooting at the same time. Is there a bit of a mind game happening while you're shooting? Is there any banter going on between you guys, trying to put each other off or anything like that?
No, not at all. Not at all. We don't feel like it's not part of the gentlemanship to try and put each other off. But afterwards, there's nothing stopping you to tell him, hey, listen, I beat you with one. Did you see that shot or whatever, something like that? But it's just having fun. That's all it's about.
And Darcy, just in closing, you mentioned earlier that you do compete in Olympic trap as well. Are there plans to go to the Olympics for yourself?
Um, that's not going to happen in the near future. My personal opinion, I don't think any South African will go in the near future, as the rules and regulations that they gave us are too high to achieve, to just get a place to go to the Olympic Games. This year, just before lockdown, we had our South African Olympic Championships, and I won it, but it doesn't mean I'm going to the Olympics.
But sorry, I mean, how does a world champion not end up at the Olympics? How can the requirements be too high?
So, universal trench that I and my teammates won the world championships is not a Olympic sport, but Olympic trench is, and there's a lot of rules and regulations that we need to achieve to just win a quota place for the Olympics, and I don't see that happening. And if we do, I don't see that we're going to keep that quota place.
So at this point, is there not like an allocated number of spots for the Olympics for Africa?
Yeah, but there's a few hiccups here and there in our sport, like in every sport. So I don't think someone will go in the near future.
Well, you never know.
I would like to go. I would really like to go one day to go to the Olympics too, but not in the near future. I don't see anything like that's going to be possible.
Well, you never know, and we'll certainly be holding thumbs that you are the first South African to represent the country at clay target shooting at the Olympics. You never know. You can only hold thumbs.
You never know. That would be great. That would be great.
Darcy, it's been great chatting to you and catching up on Sport SA Daily Diary. Thank you very much for your time today. Good luck with your shooting, and hopefully you guys can retain your World Championship next year. I presume nothing's happening this year.
Oh, we don't know yet. According to the World Championships, it's still going on later this year. So hopefully we can go. And then I just like to say thanks to you. Thanks for inviting me for this session. And I just like to say, if someone is interested in clay target shooting, go look at our CTSA website, Clay Target Shooting Association of South Africa. Contact us there, get a hold of us, and just come and enjoy yourself, because it's I promise you, do it once, it's going to bite you. You just want to do it again.
I'm sure all guys love to shoot a gun.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Darcy. Great to chat to you.
It's a pleasure. Thanks. I appreciate it. Bye.
Don't miss tomorrow's episode of Sport SA Daily Diary, where we chat to a man who has swum from Robben Island to Berg 109 times.